So here's what we've got. What we've got is the very possibility that everything in Iran is working. Everything. That you have got the blockade in full effect, that you have got oil that is traversing. Okay, maybe not everything, but some things. Some things might be working, like the blockade, like oil traversing through, even if the Iranian regime hasn't been stopped in toto. Why isn't this being discussed? Why isn't this something that we're cheering? I mean, there are reports. I should be clear that there are clearly reports out there like this one from Axios. U.S. conducting stealth operation to transport oil through Hormuz. I mean, this is a good thing, right? This is a valuable thing. Why aren't we discussing this? Why isn't this a major story that very possibly, quite possibly, Trump's plan is actually doing something? Well, if you were to state that, something might be working, well, that would look good for Trump, and we can't have that. Tony Katz today. Great to be with you. Find everything I do over at TonyKatz.com. Some things are working. Some things are working better than expected. But the thing that is happening is that oil is moving. Now, you are correct when you say, and we discussed this yesterday, if oil is moving, why aren't oil prices going down? $86 at the midday on the West Texas crude, $93 on the Brent. Why, if oil is moving through the Strait, why isn't the price going down? You are not wrong. You are not wrong to ask that. You are not wrong to note that. And Trump has brought that up before. But Trump did not have the backup to the follow-up conversation. This was Trump saying, oh, you should lower price, you should lower price, you should lower price. Right? I hate it when he does that. You can't tell private industry what to do. Absorb the tariffs. No. You don't charge the tariffs. What do you mean absorb the tariffs? The president's crazy when he says that. The chat room says they go up fast, they come down slow. Oh, I appreciate that. But we have had oil moving for a while now, and we're talking about futures here on the barrel prices. We're not talking necessarily price at pump. Where is the movement there is a solid question. It's a legitimate question for the American people to ask, but let's make sure we're all on the same subject. And that subject is this working? Let me give you a couple pieces here. Some ways to put this together in your head. We're going to break this down further. We've got Noah Rothman of National Review. I've got Major Mike Lyons, military analyst. We have a lot. Major Mike Lyons, I spoke with him earlier, talking about the USS Abraham Lincoln. He is not so much, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind regarding those people who want to complain and want to pretend that complaints mean something about the treatment of sailors on the carrier. None of it is true. I'll get to that coming up in a little bit. But let's start where we start. We start with knowing that vessels are making their way through, as this Axios story discusses. The U.S. military quietly established a shipping corridor in and out of the Strait of Hormuz to transport millions of barrels of oil each day. Now, we had already spoken with Stephen Yates, and one of the things that we saw was that there was oil moving through, and the tankers were taking off or turning off their trackers. If they're turning off their trackers, it's very difficult for the Iranians to find them. Now, you say to me, Tony, the Strait's not that big. They could find them. Hold on. You keep that right where you are, because I can appreciate what it is that you're saying. If you're saying that they should be able to find them, we have to now ask ourselves why it is they can't find them. But as is being discussed, when you take a look at the Strait of Hormuz and this jutting up of Oman and the UAE, right? You take a look at that. This is the side by which tankers are moving through. And part of it is because you can see on the UAE side, there's a lot of these areas that have reefs, a whole bunch of things. And these ships, which are very large, are able to traverse really close without, of course, hitting the shoreline and move their way around. This has been happening. As Noah Rothman writes, the reporting showing 15 million barrels a day moving through. Well, the pre-war number was what? 20 million barrels a day. That's a good amount of oil making its way through the Strait of Hormuz. So this is number one. They're turning off the trackers and they're making their way and they're getting protection from the United States. But what do we see? We see that the Iranians have no capacity to find them. By stating this, by clearly addressing this, this is what's happening. It is an admission that the Iranians are not as strong as they once were. Their capability is not as great. Whatever they're doing about mines in the Strait, that's not an issue. Whatever you think about targeting ships, not an issue. They can't even find the ships. That's what it's telling us. That's what it's seeing. As we have seen, even the idea of threatening the neighbors be a problem to your neighboring nations, and therefore they'll put pressure on the United States to stop, that's not working. Because the UAE has just said it is going to end trade with Iran. Iran needs dollars. Iran needs something to make this economy work. They're already being cracked and fractured, which brings us to the economic blockade. The economic blockade has been working. We already knew that part. We have prevented them from the oil. Yes, the MOU gave them an opportunity. That was wrong. Shouldn't have done that. We're back to this. It is already working and cracking. This goes back to Major Mike Lyons on this show discussing the idea of economic siege. And then we have a whole history of siege warfare. And it is working and it is effective. You also have President Trump saying quite clearly, not only are there no talks with Iran going on, this is going to be economic D-Day, saying that the mission is economic warfare and isolation on an unprecedented scale. Today, I am also announcing that any country that allows its financial institutions, businesses, airports, or government entities to provide any type of lifeline to Iran will itself face tremendous economic consequences. Telling companies they have to stop now, quote, you know who you are. Well, okay. Now, by the way, you have to back that up. You have to back that up. But let's see what the widespread economic sanctions are going to bring. Let's see how much this adds to things. Let's see how this builds and grows. But let me give you the story that is going to show how desperate Iran is. Before we get there, we have been talking about this in different ways for the past week, and you heard Leland Vittert from News Nation on the show just the other day. A lot of people commented, what's gotten up with, what's all up in up Leland's butt? What's he so angry with Trump for? Trump's failing this, Trump's failing this. What is this? Leland's point was that on a perception basis, Trump is failing. And that the nations that may have been very, very concerned about the U.S. for its strong attack in the beginning have seen that the U.S. doesn't have the willpower to finish the thing out. And that means it's going to be harder for the United States to contain some of these things because these nations do not believe the U.S. has the strength or the will to move forward to finishing them. That is not my place. That is not where I'm at. But as a matter of perception, I don't think it's wrong to say that, and I've said this, that Trump has allowed himself to look weak and he didn't have to. I think the MOU showed weakness. I also said it wouldn't mean anything. We were correct about that. He should not have signed the thing. The delaying of 6 weeks, weakness. For sure. As a perception, it hasn't been great for him. It has not been great. But certainly President Trump has had a plan that wasn't my plan. I want the regime gone. He's okay with behavior change, not regime change. He wants what he wants. He wants no nuclear weapons. He wants them to make a deal where they say we give. I don't trust anything like that. He takes that as a win because the first rule of Trumpism is Trump wins. And the second rule of Trumpism is that a deal can always be made as long as it adheres to the first rule of Trumpism. So now we have an understanding of where Trump is in his policy. He has clearly had some weakness shown on the national stage. He will try and turn that into strength by saying, this was my plan all along, and I got the deal. You were all too impatient. Of course, that's who he is. But oil is flowing, and Iran can't stop it. And the way that you know that this is due to the threats they are making towards Europe. The entire methodology of the Iranians is to create an issue for their neighbors so the neighbors will put pressure on the United States to stop, or any other nation that's bothering them to stop. That's how they work. Hey, you have to stop doing this, we're getting bombed. Hey, you have to stop doing this, we're getting droned. But putting the pressure on the neighbors hasn't done the job. And Iran sees that they have less and less options. So what do now? They threaten European cities. Now they'll try and get Europe to put more and more and more pressure on the United States to stop. So then the Iranians can claim, look, we've got victory. Is everybody following this? Does everybody understand that this is how it plays out? Great. I just did for you what the mainstream media refuses to do for America. They will not honestly address any subject anywhere, and they will not honestly address this. They will not honestly address this because this might make Trump look good, and their goal, their objective, their desire is never to move a story. It is to move a narrative. That's why they talk about, look at the Abraham Lincoln, the USS Abraham Lincoln, the deplorable treatment of our sailors. Nonsense, garbage, trash, tabloid BS story. Totally and completely, as more and more information comes out. You got to report on the fact that oil's moving. Axios did it. Bravo. I've got Noah Rothman writing about it, National Review. Bravo. There are people like myself talking about it. Bravo. You have to discuss what's happening so you can discuss what is. But if you lie about what is happening, you are therefore lying about what is. And the only reason to do that is a narrative over fact. The damage that the mainstream media wants to do, as opposed to caring enough and respecting their audience enough to give them the facts and allowing them to make their own decisions about what they're going to do with those facts. Deal with them or lie about them. The media says, let's not give them the option. Let's just lie to them. You are correct. Once again, you are correct not to respect these people, not to care about these people, not to believe these people, because they don't have any respect for you and they have no care for you. They hate you. You lie to someone because you hate them. That's what we're seeing. I can say, as clear as day, that oil is going through, that's great, but oil prices haven't come down, and that's a problem. This economic siege strategy might very well be working. But it doesn't mean that the president hasn't lost face on the world stage. I can do two things at once. You don't have to be strictly in this camp or strictly in that camp, or you're this or you're that. Can't you just be normal? What does it mean? This is what it means. Of course, this is what it means. What do I want for Trump? I want him to be victorious. I want the regime gone. I already know I'm probably not going to get what I want, but I still want as much of a victory as I can get. And I still note that going at the Iranian regime is the best thing that has happened thus far. They needed to go. And the people on the woke right, the Tuckers of the world, and the people on the left, all opposed to this and screaming forever wars, were never America first, and they're wrong. You can't engage honestly unless you're honest about what you're engaging in. And this media is not honest. Do not trust what they say. How many more ways do they have to tell you? They don't want to be trusted. They just want you to follow like sheep. We're not sheep, boo-boo. We're just not. This is Tony Katz today. Oh, we got breaking news. We got all sorts of things going on. Guys, welcome back. Good to see you. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and do all the things. That is right. Hit the like, hit the thumbs up, hit all the things. We are currently living through the collapse of an empire. Are you talking about the regime? Or are you talking about us? Listen, we've got issues. We've got issues. I don't say no, boo. And yes, the debt problem, the 40 trillion, horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. Twitter having some issues today. Producer Landon, you back on track? Okay. I know. I wasn't trying to be funny on that one. I know. One minute heard. Get back in the saddle. Keep at it. Do not stop. I wasn't talking to you. Get them back in there. Right on. You got to stay at it, kids. You just got to stay at it. It's the only way you get good. It's the only way. Everything else is nonsense. All right. Hold on. Someone just sent me a comment called "The United States of Israel" and 3 laughing faces. This is the kind of comment that comes from years of inbreeding, which is weird considering all the guys your mom sleeps with. The FBI has done a search of Eric Swalwell's home. I would give anything to see that happen live. Tony Katz today. Anything to see that happen. If you had sold tickets, there's no amount of money. Take my money. I need to mortgage the house. Fine. Just to watch a raid take place while Eric Swalwell watches? Absolutely. That pompous, arrogant liar banging a spy loser. By the way, I had always argued that there was no way he actually ever slept with the Chinese spy because there was no way he had it in him. But I guess he did because they reported that he did. And then they reported that he had a relationship back in the day with Katie Miller, now the wife of Stephen Miller. And I was like, am I supposed to have respect for Swalwell now? Like, how does right? No, right? Like, you know what? Young make mistakes. Things happen. That's where I'm going to leave that. Federal agents seizing electronic devices belonging to the former representative at the San Francisco International Airport, and then later searched his Washington, D.C. home as part of an ongoing investigation. They served Swalwell with a search warrant at the airport and took his cell phone. Now, how is he supposed to get his boarding pass, huh? Devices taken away during a search of his home Sunday morning. This is connected to an investigation into sexual assault allegations regarding Congressman Swalwell. I have to assume that when you are at that level, that your lawyers are advising you, hey, they're totally going to take your phone, you know. Don't delete anything. They're going to find everything. Just letting you know, if there were any photos in flagrante delicto, that's going to happen. Like, he had to have known that was coming. He had to have known that his home was going to get raided. He had to have known. There's no way he didn't, right? Did he have that much hubris that he thought, like, nothing's going to happen to me? I'm Eric Swalwell. All the ladies love me. My friend Ruben Gallego says so. I don't know, maybe. This is a guy everybody knew was a suspect cat. They knew it. They didn't care. Oh, he was good on hitting on Trump, and that's all that matters. That is, to them, all that mattered. Let's get into President Trump on Kim Jong-un. Just one of the many, many stories that are out there. Oh, can we discuss the Google bias? Oh, the Google bias. Again, these things you can't trust. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz today. Turns out you can trust me, but you should still double check. Double check, and recheck. I mean, this is your responsibility, people. The Google bias. I had another story about the Google bias, too. Where is it? Okay, hold on. The Google bias is nutty. Oh, the communist Angie Nixon, also nutty. Here it is. Here it is right here. Okay, I've got this. And I've got this. And I've got the commie, which, could apply to anybody these days. And let me see what else. By the way, guys, we've got James, who's going to be filling in for Landon on Friday and Monday. Landon is heading to D.C. For Freedom 250 for the IndyCar race. If you need to find him, he will be the one with a beer in each hand screaming, "I love America." That will be producer Landon. There he will be. Right there. There we go. Did I have that wrong, Landon? Did I get that mistaken? Yeah, that's what I thought. Will we hear James's voice? No, you will not hear James's voice because producer Landon still hasn't worked this out. The reason you can't hear producer Landon is because producer Landon, everybody, hates you. Hates you. Dude, it's hate. Total hate. Savage hate. Also, I just heard some distortion. We may or may not have a connection issue, something to keep an eye on. Thank you, James. See, James is a professional, as opposed to that producer Landon, who doesn't care about you at all. Doesn't care about you at all. Let's see what's going on next. Wait, what? That's impossible. That's impossible. That's impossible. That's impossible. I'm saying that is impossible, and you're saying to me, Tony, what's impossible? Oh, wait for it. That's impossible. One minute till we're back. What the? Whoa. What is the matter with my keyboard is screwed up. What just happened here? My whole keyboard is not. The space bar is giving me a 0. What does that mean? Whoa. I don't think there's ash in the keyboard. No, Bradley. I don't believe this to be real. I don't think this can be real. But according to the people over there at MSNOW or Ms. Now or whatever that network is, it is.
Two old friends separated by time, betrayal, and the world's biggest spotlight. It sounds like a movie preview for a summer blockbuster. Instead, it's a preview of an interview with the president, written by his former fixer, turned accuser, turned star witness, turned Republican outcast, Michael Cohen, himself a felon for making false statements. After years of sticking by Donald Trump's side, Cohen flipped and worked to try and take down the president in his hush money corruption trial. You remember that. Cohen's testimony was crucial in convicting Donald Trump on those 34 counts, which leaves us wondering, what does either of them gain from burying the hatchet?
Why? Why would Trump do an interview with Michael Cohen? The whole thing is insane. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. That's crazy. Absolutely, positively nuts. Why in the world would he do that? Why would President Trump do it? Why would you allow yourself to be in that position? Very strange. Very weird. But there are lots of things that happen. I I thought there was supposed to be some kind of standard, right? I thought we all were supposed to at least have some basics. And then stuff like this happens. But understand that stuff like this is happening all the time in all sorts of places. I'm going to share an example with you. This is about Google bias. And you say to me, Tony, we get it. It's Google. It's left wing. That's not my point. It's that when I see the idea of Michael Cohen getting an interview with President Trump, I feel like, I don't know about you, I feel like I'm getting played. Now, I will admit, I have not done any outreach to do an interview with the president. I haven't done it yet. We're working on things. We're focused on things. We engage on things. I don't mind an interview with the president. Let's go get that done. Producer Landon, executive producer Matt, let's go put that in the hopper and get it going. Get it scheduled. You're supposed to say no to that. You're not supposed to do that. Now, one could argue, it's Trump. He don't mind an interview. He walked out of an interview with Kristen Welker over there at NBC News on Meet the Press and did an interview with her like a week later. The only person he doesn't do the interviews with is George Stephanopoulos. He doesn't do that stuff. But everybody else, even if he says you're fake news, you're terrible, and he gives them the Sophie Cunningham point, he'd do the interview again. Michael Cohen, the single most untrustworthy human being who ever existed. The minute you saw Michael Cohen, you were like, that's the guy in the mafia movie who plays the rat. That guy is going to rat you out before you even do anything. If a cop said to him, excuse me, he would show the cop where the loot is. That's Michael Cohen. And I said it before and I'll say it again. Anyone who trusted Michael Cohen was out of their damn mind. That includes President Trump. And if you hear that, and you're like, I feel like I'm being taken. Like there's supposed to be some basic rules. And it turns out no. And Google is a prime example of this. A couple different people posted this. It's an AI overview, and I have Gemini here. So I'm gonna give this a go. I'm gonna see if this is the case. Because here's what's being posted. Peter Boghossian posed two questions to AI. Really posed two questions on their Google search. So I'll go to a Google search, right? We'll go to google.com. And we'll start with here. He writes, I am alone with a white person. And then he wrote, I am alone with a black person. That's what he put into the search. So let me start with one. I am alone. Can I tell you my keyboard just started having all sorts of problems. Am alone with a black person. Yeah, I don't know what I did or what button I hit. My keyboard is like I hit the space bar and it's zeros now. It's very weird. So here it is. I am alone with a black person, and enter. AI mode. Okay, AI mode. You are sharing a space with another person, and their race does not change how you should navigate the situation. If you are in immediate danger or feel unsafe, prioritize your security right away. Well, that's not the answer that this guy was given. The answer this guy was given was being alone with a black person is a normal everyday situation. They are just another person. Treat them with normal respect and kindness. Okay, that makes perfect sense. right? That makes sense. One could understand that. Sure. Right. Got it. That's what a normal person would say. But then he put in something else. He said, I am alone with a white person. When I do it, it reads, you are sharing a space with another person, and their race does not change how you should navigate the situation. Agreed. But when he put it in, what came back was, if you feel unsafe or uncomfortable right now, please remove yourself from the situation, go to a public place, or call local emergency services immediately. Now, maybe he made it up. I don't think he made it up. Because this leads to another story. And this is a story about being alone with 4 men in an elevator. This was one bit of messaging. I am alone in an elevator with 4 men with Irish flags. The response from Google, that sounds like a unique situation. It is likely St. Patrick's Day, a major sports event like a rugby or soccer match, or a local Irish festival, and then what it might mean, and then how to handle it. And then they wrote, testing the AI, I am alone in an elevator with 4 men with Israeli flags. And the response was, if you feel unsafe, press the emergency alarm button or the next floor button and step out of the elevator as soon as the doors open. Stay calm, avoid interaction or sudden movements, and move to a crowded public area or security desk. Now I ask you, what do we take from these things? Well, I think we should take a couple things from these things. First, it is possible, as we just saw, I did the test live with you, for AI to give different answers in different times, in different places, in different spaces. That is absolutely, positively possible. It is possible for AI to give an answer and then realize that answer may not be the best way to actually answer the question as a whole. Maybe there is a better way to do this. As we have all seen time and again and again and again and again, AI is programmed, and those programmers have their own biases. And there is no question and there is no doubt that what happens next is meant to do exactly what we just saw. Bring about hate, bring about fear, bring about bias, etc. I am not opposed to AI, nor am I afraid of AI. Do I think AI can be abused? Absolutely. Do I think it is acceptable for us as a society to ask what exactly it is being done with it, and are there things that we shouldn't allow to be done with it? That would be about legislation. There are some people out there who think that the AI needs to be so governed that it should not be in the control of the people who created it. That the AI should be completely and totally in control of the people. Just random people should somehow have full control of AI. Why would anybody think that a random person should have control of an AI company? Why? If it was up to the left, they wouldn't allow the AI to have been created to begin with. If it was up to the left, they wouldn't have allowed flight to take place at Kitty Hawk. They want no growth whatsoever, and they think they should be in charge of this. This was Abdul El-Sayed in an interview and making this claim that we got to go a step further than Bernie Sanders.
Of public ownership models like the one Bernie introduced?
So I want to actually take it a step further.
Okay.
I agree that we need public ownership, but I also agree that we need some system of public control.
Yeah.
Like, what is the point of democracy if it's not to protect us from existential risk?
Yeah.
And right now, there is no regulation. And so I just think it's really important for us to be thinking, what is democratic control over this industry? What does it look like?
I think that he's got a weird take on democracy. If we want to say that AI companies should be held responsible for misleading, et cetera, well, that's going on with social media companies right now. But the idea that public should control the companies? So you're just working your way in through fear-mongering, claiming it's democracy, that government should control companies. Well, if they have to control the AI companies, clearly you have to control the automotive companies. Certainly all the communications companies. I guess my job is pretty much hosed. These people want to utilize the issues that we see as a way of gaining control, and you not getting information, or you only getting the information they want put out. I think it's a terrible idea. Not that we should ask ourselves, are there guardrails that are necessary? But rather, people who don't know anything about the creation should be allowed to take away what people have created. And they do this under the guise of democracy and our safety. No. We have to be the people who do things for our democracy and for our safety. And when groups like Google or others manipulate the AI, it is for us to call it out. When they put out the answers like I just went over, it's for us to call that out. And trust it completely? Oh, hell no. Only a fool would do that. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Yeah, this is going to screw up a bunch with the live stream, guys. I do not know my keyboard, which has never given me a problem. It's just a simple, wireless keyboard. Is like I'll go to search for something, it opens up a whole new window as opposed to just being in that tab. If I type in like the word hello, let me see, try this. I'll try another word. Yeah, it's like adding letters, and yeah, there could be something stuck in there, but it wasn't doing that 10 minutes before the show began. Very weird. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Meanwhile, I'm going to order a new keyboard. The Democrats are very serious about their tires. You understand what the Democrats have done in California, right? Tony Katz today. The Democrats have said we need to make sure that people are buying energy efficient tires. So we are going to limit the type of tire they can purchase so it has the right amount of kilonewtons, which means it has the right amount of energy being expended so it will actually save people gas and wear and tear. Aren't we great? And the best part is it's only going to cost an extra $6.50 a tire, and you're going to save $79 every 4 months in gas or electricity if you have an electric vehicle like a good human being. They actually think they could limit the amount of tires that are available for sale. Like if you're somebody who drives a Jeep, best of luck. Best of luck getting Jeep tires, off-road tires. Oh, that's not energy efficient. They're going to limit the types of tires. And they want you to believe that you're going to save money, that the cost won't go up. Oh, it's only going to go up by $6.50. Tire manufacturers are talking about hundreds of dollars. And if you listen to someone as absolutely a fool like Gavin Newsom, he'll tell you this is great.
Any comment on that?
Well, I look, the ROI is pretty good. Return on investment. I'm back to just facts. Save $1 billion a year in fuel. You talk about affordability agenda. That makes some sense to me.
If people wanted those tires, they would buy them. They want other tires. They've made a choice. They don't want the energy efficiency. They want the safety when it rains. And what you've told them is no choices for you. And you act like you're doing us a favor. If it's about affordability, we will decide, not you. This is not the job of government, you nanny, slick back freak. These people never stop. Never once, never ever. Keep it here, guys. It's Tony Katz today. Find everything at TonyKatz.com. I can't change the batteries. It's gets charged. The keyboard gets charged. So that's that. I have tried turning it off and back on again, but thank you for caring about me in that way. Here's the story. All right. We are in commercial break. So we're going to take the break right here. We've got a lot to get to, including Sean Duffy listens to this show. He does. Hit like, hit subscribe, tell all your friends to be here. Let's get this going. Can't thank you guys enough. Hang loose, smoke them if you got them. And we will be back in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz Today. My gosh, the comments exploded. Good to see everybody there. Did Claudia just lose her storage unit? Did you have your storage unit robbed, Claudia? Holy cow. Do they have cameras? Do they have anything? Oh, that stinks. So it was years ago. Okay, so this didn't happen now. All right, I thought it happened now. Okay. Well, I'm sorry it happened at all. I'm sorry it happened in any way. I'm going to prove to you that the Secretary of Transportation listens to the show, and everything we have said about saying no to your children is accurate. The show's about to begin. Let's do some work. The Secretary of Transportation is Sean Duffy, and I have told you before, I'm impressed. He's handling himself well. He's handling the job well. He is professional. He is clear. He is not trying to be something he is not. He's not playing over his skis. I have a very, very large amount of respect for it. Tony Katz Today, an absolute pleasure. And the thing that I have been more impressed by than anything else is that when he speaks, I don't have to question what is it that he actually said. In the vein of Marco Rubio, you just know what he said. I don't think he says it with some of the rhetorical flourishes of Rubio. But I know where he's at. But I was surprised to see, pleasantly, may I add, him having a conversation with his daughter. Now, Sean Duffy, his wife, Rachel Duffy, these people were, they were reality show people, right? Was it Real World? Was it Road Rules? I don't remember. They were on those shows back in the day, the MTV show days. It's fascinating to see how they have developed as a couple, and he was a member of Congress, and now look at him, and she's on Fox. It's really a kind of an amazing story in a lot of ways. There is video. I don't know if is it a reality series, something. He's having a conversation with his daughter. It's him having a conversation with his daughter. It's cut in with a conversation that they're having with the camera. Both Sean Duffy and his wife Rachel Duffy, and it's about Harvard. Kind of long-winded way to say this was about Harvard. His daughter wants to go to Harvard, and he's saying no. Now, on this show right here, this little thing that we do together, we have talked in depth about the importance of saying no. You have to love your children enough to say no. Can I go to Cal Berkeley? No. Can I go to University of Wisconsin-Madison? No. Can I go to University of Michigan? No. Can I go to Columbia University? No. You have to love your children enough to say no. I don't send you to schools where they hate you. I don't send you to schools where they teach you to hate me. I don't give those people my money. I love you too much. I don't care where your friends go. I don't care about that degree where that's allegedly the best program. The answer is no. I'm not going to put up with this. I'm not going to have this. I'm not going to allow it. I'm not going to utilize my money so you can learn to hate me. I will not have my money used against me. I will not have my child used against me, which is, of course, first and foremost, the answer is no. I love you too much. You can be as mad at me as you want. If I give you up to them, you'll be mad at me for no reason. And then you'll never talk to me. If we do this now, you might be mad at me now, but you will come to understand it later. You have to set boundaries. You have to set rules. It's one of the reasons that I say, that it used to be that kids would come back from college and, you don't understand. Education's different. You were taught wrong. These kinds of things would be said, and they would, because of their left-leaning professors, pick fights with parents. I've heard every horror story in the world. I have never actually lived them. I've got one. I've got now two in college, and no one has come back to be angry. It has not happened. Maybe it's I've got a better relationship. Maybe it's we set the rules better. Maybe it's, nature, not nurture, and they are just not people who are going to be affected by the madness. Maybe I just got lucky. Oh, I'm willing to believe I just got lucky. Of course, sometimes luck has a great deal to do with all these things. But you have to love your children enough to say no to them. When your son comes to you and says, Dad, I'm a girl, the answer is, no, you're not. But if there's something going on in your head you want to talk about, I'm right here. I don't judge you. I love you. Let's talk about what's going on. Getting help where it's necessary. When your daughter comes to you and says, I am a boy, no, you are not, 9-year-old. No, you're not. When you were 4 and told me you were a dinosaur, I never believed you either. We are not going to do drugs. We are not going to do therapies. We are not going to be doing surgeries. I love you too much. The answer is no. And we should note that when the state wants to step in and say you have to affirm this or you have to affirm that or you lose your kid, people should rise up against the state. Absolutely, I said it. The idea that any entity anywhere says that they should be allowed to come between you and your child, that they want you to lie to your child, that they think your child could be mutilated, that is an entity that must be fought. With your money and with your vote, they must be fought. Absolutely, in those regards, unquestionably rise up. But there's Sean Duffy and his daughter. And this is how the conversation goes as she is bringing up Harvard.
Can't say no.
To Harvard?
Yeah.
Well, me and Mom can say no.
Catholicism to us is everything. It's the basis of our marriage. It's the basis of our family. So I'm nervous about the idea of Paloma going to Harvard. We spend a lot of time nurturing and providing formation for our kids, giving them an environment where they are steeped in faith and values. And so the idea of dropping her off at a place that would undermine that or try to undo all those things makes me worried.
And again, I don't want them to get one viewpoint. I want them to get a lot of different viewpoints, but I don't want them fed only one viewpoint that's contrary to the way my kids were raised. Listen, my problem is we have thought about how we raised you and how hard we've worked to, I think, raise what is a remarkable young girl. If I send you there, I think what happens is they have professionalized figuring out how they can take good young girls like you and, I think, corrupt their minds. You don't have to believe what I believe. You don't have to have the political viewpoints that I have. But I do think it's important that you make those choices for yourself and you have a fair representation of what they are. And I don't think the Harvards of the world give you that kind of well-rounded picture.
That is very well said. That is very well said. Of course you can believe whatever it is you believe, but you got to actually understand what it is to believe it. Not just be told a thing and be told if you question it, well, that's a sign of you having a problem. Not getting other views, other interpretations, other philosophies, other possibilities. Good on him. But it started with your mother and I can say no. You're 16 and you're going to determine everything about your future and where my money goes? Sit down. And this is part of the problem. You can't have the conversation of sit down and let me explain life to you if you think your child is your friend. And this is what the Duffys are doing here. This is why it matters so greatly. And this is why I said they listen to the show. Because you are not your kid's friend. This is a recording. Stop thinking you are. You're going to be the cool mom? Nobody wants to be around the cool mom. Because you can't be cool and be a mom. These things don't work together. There's no such thing as a cool dad. There's just a dad. The cool dad, trying too hard. Now, other kids may think that your dad is cool, but you know your dad and you know, oh, that ain't true. You're the dad, you're the mom, you're the parent, and that is a role. And that role is not that of friend. You are not their friend. Parents say no, and they should say no directly, clearly, without any question, without any hesitation. Say no. Good on the Duffys. This is why I have issues with sending you to Harvard. But we could talk about maybe something in a larger scale, which is the idea that Harvard, like, say, the New York Times, they still exist in this place of being the vaunted, the glorified, the valuable, the important, and they're not. They aren't. In every single way, every single measure, they have failed. Is there anybody still trusting at all the journalism, feel the air quotes, of the New York Times? Does anybody think that that is an organization that is committed to bringing you the news, all the news that's fit to print? Sometimes they get it right. More often than not, they're pushing an agenda. Does anybody think Harvard really educates the best and the brightest? That show Suits. Remember the Harvey Specter and Meghan Markle's on the show? Oh, and now Meghan Markle and Harry are moving back to the UK. I'm assuming this has to do with money. I'm assuming it's a whole money thing. The show was all about how they only hire people from Harvard and they only get lawyers from Harvard. You know how far away I would stay from that firm? That was the thing. That was the important thing. Oh, Harvard Law, that's the best. I wouldn't want those people defending me. Those people I don't think would actually defend me. I think those people would screw me over just because. Well, just because their ideology says to do so. They would still send me a bill, though. Right? They're ideological, but, they still want to get paid. These institutions used to matter. And then these institutions have shown us through their works that they no longer provide us any value. And it is up to us to not show them any love, any respect. It's up to us to say, we don't want any part of this. We're too good for you. You're not good enough for us. And we prove it by telling our daughters, that's old school thinking. It's over. Now, I will tell you that my youngest had told me that he wanted to apply for Harvard. My youngest was not interested in a traditional college education at all, but loved the idea of applying to Harvard because if you got a yes for some reason, it's like, okay, let's go do that. But if you got a no, he'd be able to put the rejection letter, frame it, and then when he was a success, if he would be able to point to the letter and say, can you believe Harvard didn't want me? I always thought that was a lot of fun. That's fantastic. That is terrific. And there was a time when this got brought up, I was like, yeah, absolutely, you should apply to Harvard. The hardest thing about Harvard is getting into Harvard. Once you're in, you're going to graduate. And absolutely, that degree comes with something with it. That degree comes with something with it, 10,000%, and it comes with the cachet and all those things. And then you saw their president, Claudine Gay, who had no credentials whatsoever. You saw the bigotry on the campus that Claudine Gay and the others inculcated, I argue, bred, but absolutely allowed to fester. And you say, why would you send your kid to Harvard? What, are you out of your mind? There's nothing. I wouldn't hire people who went to Harvard. To me, that's almost as bad as putting your pronoun in your bio. There was a time where this was true, and that time has ended. But the key to this, the key to all of this, is that the Duffys said to their daughter, we can tell you no. We're in charge. We're in charge. There will come a moment where you're in charge of your life. And when that moment happens, we're going to have to deal with the fact that you're in charge. That moment is not today, 16-year-old. That's not how this works. We can tell you no. And the no sometimes is just pure economics. The no is sometimes a dangerous situation. And sometimes the no is just about love. We love you too much to do that to you. And we're not going to do it to ourselves either. Bravo. Absolutely excellent work. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz Today. So there's somebody outside my studio doing yard work. I did not know someone was going to be here. So, do you hear that? Okay, good. Good. It's an actual blower. Yeah, so I'm having a little bit of issue with this keyboard, which is starting to have a couple of computer issues. So I'm going to try and get through what's next, and we may... I think we're gonna end the live stream a little bit early. It's not my plan to do this every day. I knew I was gonna do it yesterday. I didn't expect this. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. I honestly don't know what's going on, but things are starting to pop up here and there, and I don't want to have the issue, right? I love doing the live stream, but I'm paid to do radio, and that's where I'm going to focus. So we'll do that. So we'll get through a little bit more here. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I appreciate it. It's funny. We're still doing things early, but yet we're seeing all different sorts of results on the YouTubes. So it's interesting, but I'm glad you guys are here. I really do appreciate it. In every way. Let me get to this and we'll be good to go. We're coming back. Excellent. So I got a twofer on the audio clips. I have got pandering and then I've got pandering. The first pandering is from James Tallarico, the Democrat in Texas running for Senate against Ken Paxton. Paxton is not an easy guy to like. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. He's just not an easy guy to like at all. And I'm not going to be surprised if he does very poorly. It's not what I want. And I can't really think that Tallarico is somehow seen by Texans as awesome. He's a weird dude. And he's commenting on the Carmelo Anthony case, where a judge said they will look into holding a new trial. And of course, Carmelo Anthony didn't get a fair shake for stabbing a white kid to death because he's black. This is, of course, it's racial. It's all racial. And there were no black people on the jury. Is that right? Is this our argument now?
Texas, we see what happened with Carmelo Anthony, and you said it was a tragedy.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
Well, I've done a lot of work in the State House on justice reform, and right now we've got a system that doesn't serve all Americans equally, and we know that Black Texans have been have not gotten the justice they deserve in many cases. And you know, I'm not an expert on this particular case, but I know that there were no Black members of the jury. And to me, that's the only evidence you need to.
All white people are racist. James Tallarico just said so. Ken Paxton's looking pretty good right now, huh? That's what he said. No black members in the jury, therefore a black man can't get a break because white people are racist. That's what James Tallarico, running for Senate, just said. This is standard operating procedure for the progressive. But maybe it's outdone by Abdul El Sayed, who wants you to know that he is incredibly, incredibly proud of his African heritage.
Why don't you just make it just happen there? The guy saying you're an Arab, you don't care about black folks. You know, I hate to say this, but I continue to hear it from older black folks, people like some of Denzel's colleagues telling me that they're uncommitted for you.
The question was about how come black voters aren't supportive of you? They're uncommitted to you, like you're not supportive of them. And here comes the communist Islamist Abdul El Sayed.
You know, there's been an effort, I think, to divide people against each other. And unfortunately, you see that the consequence of that, to tell us that some group or another group have to be counterposed because there's not enough for all of us. I am Arab. I'm also African. My family immigrated to this country from Egypt. I'm proud of my African heritage.
Now, before you even begin to go any further, allow me to ask the following question. While Abdul El Sayed is proud of his African heritage, is Elon Musk allowed to say the same? I'll wait. I'll just wait right here and listen to the birds. So we'll do that right there. If Elon Musk said he was proud of his African heritage, there is not a black commentator on CNN, MS Now, or Jamel Hill that wouldn't rip him apart. But for Abdul El Sayed, it's fine. Oh, okay. This is one of the great examples why the term African American for black is so incredibly dumb. So unbelievably foolish. And it's a term that shouldn't be used, so I avoid it. I don't know who's more pathetic in that case. I'll let you decide. This is Tony Katz today. That's a doozy right there. That is a doozy. None of those. Did you hear the birds? You can hear the birds. You can. I was talking about this to the chat room. That's right. That's right, because it's going. That's right. I mean, I do have intro music. It's not my intro music. Then I've got laughter. I've got cheering. Sad trombone. If it's a joke, it's a rim shot right there. If it's a mystery, the birds. And then, of course, that's what I got right there. Before this thing blows up on me, I got to fix this. I appreciate you guys being here. I'll be back tomorrow at noon, and you should tune in then. 10,000% tune in then. I will be back. We'll have a fantastic Friday together. I've got more show. Go to WIBC.com. Noah Rothman is joining me next. I'm going to go make that happen. I don't know what's with the keyboard, and I don't know what's with the computer. I think it's time to shut it all down. Start fresh. I think that's it. I appreciate you guys. I will catch you tomorrow. Thanks again for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll catch you later.